Scorpio, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol. Scorpio, this is going to be a general reading for you, and there is no date on it because I trust that when it comes into your feed, it's meant for you. And so in today's reading, we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at your fears. We're going to conquer your fears. And in particular, we're going to look at a specific situation that's going on with you right now in your life where you're having some fear. Whether it's something you want to do, you know, there's just fear coming up in your system. I know in the last couple of weeks I've had a lot of fear in my system because I know that what's going on in the world right now, there's a lot of fear. And I mean, literally, my anxiety, you know, one day was so bad I wanted to rip it out of my chest, and feeling just a lot of paralysis around what's going on, and you know, feeling like I can't do anything, and so I really had to take a look at, you know, where is this fear coming from? Because I've been on my own healing journey for about almost 7 years now, intensively from my own complex trauma. And I know that when I have this really strong emotion in my system, even though I know it's coming from the outside world, it's triggering something in my own, you know, trauma, and we all have trauma on a continuum, that needs healing. And so I've had to really do a lot of healing in the last bit around my fear and where this fear is coming from. And so that's what we're going to do today, is I'm going to look at, my hair is really bugging me today. Sometimes when you come on this channel, it's in front of the camera, and it's like, okay, how's my hair going to look today? Anyway, so yeah. I have this fear that my hair's not going to look good. Got to figure out where that is. So anyway, we're going to start off by looking at, you know, where is it showing up in your life? And then what we do is when fear shows up in our system, we tend to block it. We don't want, we deny it. We try to put it away, try to get on with our life and pretend it's not there. But fear is so intense in your system, and that's why it can absolutely paralyze you. And it just affects everything you do. And then we're going to look at, like I said, the origin of this fear. Where is it coming from? Because you're being triggered. It's something from your childhood, something from your adolescence. And then finally, I'm going to ask the tarot for some guidance as to how you begin to release this fear. And I'll leave you with maybe a playlist or two at the end, maybe one on fear and something else, whatever comes up in your reading, all right? So give me a couple seconds. I'll put you on speed shuffle, and I'll be back. All right, Scorpio, we're going to begin. So, interesting, the four main cards that I pulled out for you was the Queen of Cups, the Page of Cups, and the Sun and the Knight of Pentacles. And I know like two of them are cups. So right away, and then you have the Three of Cups here. So when I first started the reading, I thought, okay, it seems to be kind of going towards cups, which was emotions. That's what I felt, and which is interesting because we're doing fear, but we'll get more into it. So let's start off with, where's your fear showing up in your life? Well, we talked about the Queen of Cups and how it's in reverse. And the Queen in my deck, there's four of them. And the Queen represents our feminine side. We all have a feminine side, and we all have a masculine side. It has nothing to do with gender. And the Queen talks about, especially the Queen of Cups, the cup has everything to do with our emotions, how we're feeling, our desires, our wishes. And so if she's in reverse, it very much means that, you know, right now you are blocking a lot of your emotions. And if you see her kind of in an upright position, staring over that cup, right? Almost really afraid to touch those emotions. And so I can see here that, believe it or not, there's something, you know, if you have fear in your system, and oftentimes it's our ego that is petrified. Our ego is the part of us that is a really scared part. And so if you have fear coming up in your system, you have this ego blocking your own fear. And so there's almost like the fear of the fear here. And I'm wondering here if, you know, your ego is very much blocking your fear and wouldn't even allow this queen to come forward. And she's the one, Queen of Cups is the one that feels her emotions. She's not afraid to feel her emotions, but there's a block here somewhere where you're just feeling blocked from feeling it. And then the next card that comes up is the Chariot card. The Chariot card is in reverse. And I think what's happening here, the Chariot in an upright position speaks about this individual, charioteer, that's trying to control these two sphinxes. And there's no reins here because he's trying to control it with his mind, right? And I think for a long time, I think you've been trying to control your fear with your mind. But it's in reverse here because it's like that's not working anymore. You know, you've been trying for a long time to control this. And if it's your anxiety that comes up, or that paralysis that comes up when there's fear sitting in your system, I mean, we're going to try to control it with our mind, right? And that's why we try to push it down. And the Chariot card says, you know, that's not working anymore. And the Chariot is really a card about, you know what? It's now time to go inwards and start to feel this fear and find out what's happening here. Because the Chariot card is really a card of introspection and time to go inwards. But there's just like, I think you are in a state of paralysis, because if this is telling you, you know, your controlling doesn't work, the controlling of the fear isn't working anymore, and you're trying to go inwards and push it down, it's not working for you. It's not working for you right now. And there's a real resistance on your part to want to go to that fear and find out what it is for sure. And so then the Two of Pentacles comes in after that. And that tells me that in an upright position, the Two of Pentacles speaks about an individual that is juggling these two pentacles. Someone that's very, very ungrounded and distracted. And so I see here that you're keeping yourself very distracted, and that is how you're dealing with your fear. Maybe you're someone that's very, very busy. You're keeping busy lately, right? And that's how you're dealing with it, so we don't have to think about it, right? Yeah, and so there's a real big fear of you. So I'm seeing there is fear in your system, but you're just doing everything kind of to skirt it and go around it rather than go straight towards it. And so how are you blocking this? Well, I think we've already established that you're a busy person, and that can definitely block it, but we're going to look at right now, how are you blocking this? Well, Page of Cups coming in, and the Page of Cups is a very, very important card. And when it shows up, we really need to pay attention to it. This little page is an inner child of ours. There's 4 pages in the tarot, and I call them my inner children, because we can have more than one inner child that holds a lot of our emotions and holds our memories and our trauma. And this particular Page of Cups is that part of you that seeks out, I call him my love seeker. It's the little part of you, the inner child of yours, that seeks out in other relationships, other people, whether it's an intimate partner, friend, family members, trying to get that love back that they never got when they were younger. And it'll definitely, it'll become the little chameleon, and you'll change and you'll become different people for people around you. And you can be a real people pleaser as well, right? Trying to please all the people around you. And these are behaviors that we've learned from childhood, where we were trying to get that love and we didn't get it. And we had to put on these different masks and be a chameleon in order to try to get love from all these different people. And then we grow up and we continue on with these patterns. And so you have that part of you right now that is out, I'm going to say. And oftentimes when we have to face our own fear, when we have to face our own memories, and if there's some fear coming up with them, we will often, you'll notice that these toxic people start to show up in your space, or you'll start chasing people. And you bring, these individuals that are not good for you in your space. And that's what I see is happening with this little Page of Cups right now. And that helps us block the fear, the memories, the grief that could be sitting behind this fear of yours right now. And the Queen of Swords comes out here, and here's another queen, and again, the feminine aspect of ourselves. And she has the sword in her hand. She's the one that cuts through the bullshit. She's the one that is the queen with the sword of truth. Your truth right here. Your truth right here is blocked. And I think you're covering that up. You're covering up the truth. That's what you're chasing here. The truth that you need to get to of why you have this fear. But you're covering it up. She's blocked right now. And like I said, it's covered up by this. So we can cover up our truth and who we are. Often we can sit in some depression. And maybe you are sitting in some depression here, because depression actually will cover up other emotions for us. It's like one of those secondary emotions that kind of sits in front of other emotions. And once we can get to that depression and why we're feeling that, there's going to be some other emotions that are behind that. And finally, you have this pain that's sitting here. Here's the pain in reverse. This is what you're not wanting to look at. This is the Three of Swords. Look at how they're piercing your heart. And if I had to say something about this reading already, I can really feel a strong sense of pushing this fear down, covering it up, not wanting to look at it. And unfortunately, when your little love seeker is out, you're really avoiding it by seeking toxic relationships, or other people are coming into your space and getting really distracted by what's going on around us by busying ourselves, distracting ourselves, and that could mean with other relationships and other people around us, so that you don't have to look at your own stuff. And that's how I see you blocking it. And then what is the origin of this, which is over here? So where is this coming from your childhood? And when I say that, I mean, where are these behaviors, this love-seeking behavior, where is that coming from? Well, when you were younger, you have the sun right here, sideways. It came out sideways, and the sun talks to me about pure, innocent, childlike joy. And I'm not talking about that Hallmark smile, put a smile on, fake happiness. I'm talking about, if you look at children play, you can just see this joy that they have about being in their own skin, being alive, right? Being able to use all their emotions and express all their emotions. But this is in your unconscious. This is actually in your shadow. This is something you repressed when you were younger. So you put your joy away, because you see here it's sideways. So it's like, there might have been some joyous occasions in your childhood and your adolescence, but there's also a lot of not so good things that happen to you when you're younger. And I don't know if you're aware of it, because you have the Ten of Pentacles, which is a very important card that's sitting here in your shadow. We'll talk about it for a minute. But so, this could have been your childhood where, or maybe you think that you came from a family a childhood where, I don't know, everything is okay. And, you could be somebody that says, well, I don't remember a lot of my childhood, but what I remember, it was good. As soon as people say, I don't remember, that is a huge red flag, I should say, that there is some trauma there. Because we forget things that happen when they're not good. When we don't want to remember them, we'll forget them. If they were joyous, you would remember them. And so the next card that comes out after the Joy card is the Lover's card. And the Lover's card speaks about when it's not in the shadow. It's normally, it talks about a choice that has to be made. And it's very much an inner, going inwards choice. And it's interesting that this card has come out, because you really do have a block here. When we talked about the Chariot card, how you don't want to go inwards and you don't want to touch your emotions. And so I'm seeing this Lover's card, which is similar in that you really lost touch of, who you were. And it was, I mean, as a child, you didn't know what it meant to go inwards, but as a child, you knew what it meant to be able to feel comfortable in your own skin and be able to express everything freely in a safe environment, in a supporting environment. But that joy was sometimes taken away from you, where you weren't allowed to, be free to express all your emotions. And then you have this Ten of Pentacles card, which I said is an important card right now, that sits at the right at the end here in your shadow. The Ten of Pentacles is, to me, it's a real generational card, first of all, because you can see different generations. You can see this looks like a grandfather figure here in the front, and then maybe they're his children here. There's a little child peeking out here, grabbing onto his, whoever that is he's with, holding on to them. The dog here, it's like a family card, generational card. But you've got this symbol here that is kind of portrayed here with these pentacles, and it's very important that you look at this. And I think that any tarot deck should keep that symbol on there for the Ten of Pentacles. And if it doesn't, I kind of struggle with it, because that is so important for this card, because that is the Kabbalistic tree of life. And every pentacle represents, these nodes right here, represents, like you study these, it comes from the Jewish culture, and you study it, and it teaches you about your origin and where you came from. It's all about your lineage. And this card to me speaks about lineage, generations. But in particular, because this is a healing channel, it speaks to me about trauma and generational trauma. And so oftentimes we don't realize, like I said, we can, you have the Sun card kind of going, I think I remember about my childhood, and maybe you don't. There's things that you don't remember about your childhood. You have some trauma. You have some trauma around, not being able to express, feeling comfortable in your own skin to express your emotions. There's some things that happened to you that maybe would have taken away some of your joy as a child. And I think there's some real fear on your part to express, to look at this fear, to look at your emotions, because there's some trauma around that when you were younger that was taken away from you, and you didn't feel free to express your emotions. And so there's some real fear around, that's blocking this, blocking you from even wanting to go near this fear and touching it and feeling it. So it's almost like you have this fear of the actual fear itself that's associated with your trauma, if that makes sense to you. And then, so how can you begin to release this fear? So Scorpio, how can remember, this is a process. So how are we going to begin? You have the Knight of Pentacles here, and the knights in my deck are what I call my freedom fighters. And everybody has this part. Everybody wants to be free. Everybody wants to be free to move towards their authentic self. And the Pentacle talks about the body. Pentacle has everything to do with our body. It's actually, it's the Pentacle is the earth element, so it talks about grounding and being very much in your body and grounded here. And so I'm thinking there's some real, if our, oftentimes when we don't feel, when we want this freedom, because you've been searching all your life, you've been wanting all your life to go towards, being in your body and feeling, being able to feel some of these emotions, I think, because there's a lot of blocking going on, I'm sensing as well. And this is the part that just is pulling you towards your authentic self and trying to get you back in your body. Because if we were up in our heads, with this, our ego self that is a petrified part, if we are up in our heads and we stay there, and this juggling here, this pentacle part, this Two of Pentacles will keep us up in our head and distracted. This this Queen, yeah, the Page of Cups, sorry. I knew I was looking for that. The Page of Cups. For some reason I was reading Ace and I'm like, I know I read it as something else, not an ace. But this Page of Cups, this little love seeker, that it as well will help us block this freedom fire that wants to come forward and go toward your authentic self and get back into your body. Get back into your body is the Hangman. He's comfortable where he's laying. He's very, very comfortable. He's comfortable in his own skin. And that's what the Hangman is to me. Somebody that is very much comfortable in your own skin. And so the universe wants to take you to a place where we're going to move towards your authentic self. And that means it's time for you to start to realize what it means to discover your body again and get back there, because that's where your emotions are. Your emotions aren't up here. And that's why the ego will keep us up here to block us from getting into our body. The universe wants you to get to a place where you feel comfortable enough to get into your body and to discover what that is. And then you have the Three of Cups, which is in reverse. In an upright position, the Three of Cups talks about our feminine side. This is a co-creative card. It's like they're celebrating their feminine side, and we've talked about that already. And so I can already hear that. I'm hearing that there is this pull towards for you your feminine side, to start to discover what that is, to try to dip your toe into that water. And water is all about emotions, right? To try to, all right, how am I going to get in my body? What do I need to do to get back in my body so I can tackle this fear, so I can start to feel it again, right? And start to heal some of this generational trauma that's coming up for me to heal. And so what I think I'm going to do for you, Scorpio, is I'm going to leave you with a fear playlist, because I think you really could benefit from that. And that'll teach you how to write, how to journal from your fear as well. And I think I also want to leave you with a playlist on grounding, because you need to learn how to ground into your body so that you can feel safe enough to feel some of this fear that's sitting in your system. All right, so this is, have compassion for yourself, Scorpio. This is the most difficult journey of your life, but it's the most important one. And so I'll talk soon. Bye.